Good evening, everyone, and this lovely evening of April 11th, 2024. It is 5:30, and we are here for the Oglethorpe Renaming Committee. Unfortunately, we do not have a super quorum, and because of that, we will not be able to make any formal actions, so there will be no approval of the agenda or minutes or any decisions being made. But we have decided to take advantage of the fact that those who are gathered can have a conversation and an update on where we are within the naming of the renaming of the Oglethorpe building. So I believe we do have one of our neighborhood representatives, Lyndon Green, on the phone, so welcome. In addition to Lyndon, we also have Board Member Jessica Johnson. We also have Miss Chelsea Montgomery and Mr. John Davis. I'm having a hard time with last names today, but thank you all for being here today. Initially, we were just going to review the process and the policy. We did review that in our first meeting. So apparently we are all good. So do we need to do a roll call? Or did I do it with the?
You've already done it, so we can move forward with the approval of the agenda in the minutes.
All right, well, look at God. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Jessica Johnson and a second by Chelsea Montgomery. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is to approve the March 25th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Board Member Johnson and seconded by Mr. Davis. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. So for the discussion items, the first item on the agenda was an overview of process and policy. Does anyone want to review that we went over at the last meeting? Do we want to review that?
We did. I can make it very quick and simple.
Okay, Pierre, would you do that for us?
Yeah, so when there's a need for a name change or the renaming of a building, there is a need of a committee to come together. 5 to 7 people are appointed to that committee. That committee is appointed by the chair of the Atlanta Board of Education, and the district representative serves as the chair wherever the building is located. Once the committee is formed, our process, which is not necessarily policy, there are usually at minimum 3 meetings that allows the introduction, and then the second meeting is an opportunity to discuss any possible names, and if there is a need, we can vote to provide a recommendation to the full board. Again, it is the guidance of this committee and not the decision of this committee as it relates to the renaming or the naming of any facility. And so once the recommendation is made, this then will go before the full board for consideration to actually make to vote in favor of whatever the name may be. And so I do just want to say that. But with that being said, that's a synopsis of the policy.
Excellent. Thank you for that synopsis. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Mr. Green, are you able to hear us, and do you have any questions?
I am able to hear you, and at this point, I have no questions.
Excellent. Thank you. Moving on to the next item agenda, the purpose of the new facility. I will pass the mic.
All right, just to give an overview of the facility, so we will be moving all of our student services over to this facility. That includes health services, our intervention team, our social work team, our homeless and foster team, tribunal, and our discipline team, and of course, registration. And we are also looking to have a very large clothing closet, potentially a grocery store, and be able to provide ongoing events and one-time services, so things like immunizations, sports physicals, FAFSA nights, job fairs, We don't know what we don't know, which is why we're having those community stakeholder engagement sessions too, to see what else we're solving for. But for now, those are the basics.
Thank you very much for that overview. By any chance, are you opening up the opportunity for folks to offer up names for the building in these meetings? And if not, can we?
We are, and that is also, I asked Pierre for the link as well. So hopefully we can also put that out online. But we are asking at the events as well. We had one last night, was our first one at Maynard Jackson. Next Wednesday is at Mays from 6 to 7. And then next Saturday is at Best from 10 to 11. So please come out and join us. That's where we're really hearing from our community. What challenges are they facing? Are there other families, neighbors facing? And then also what services, supports should we be providing at the center? So that's where we can hear from them.
And Chelsea, are people also able to join virtually?
Yes, they can join all the remaining 2 meetings virtually, and we also have Spanish translation as well.
And I believe Councilmember Dozier mentioned at our last meeting that the name of the street had changed. Have we caught up with that? Hopefully. So if not, let's make sure that we're aware that that street name has changed. And he also mentioned that it might be a good idea, and I don't know exactly how we do this, and maybe it'll be through, I don't know how we do it, but encouraging a MARTA stop in the area, if there's some way that we could lobby for that. So I just wanted to raise those 2 ideas from Councilman Dozier, who unfortunately wasn't able to join us today.
And Madam Chair, I also just want to acknowledge that we do have a webpage dedicated to the renaming committee for Oglethorpe, and that flyer that Chelsea Montgomery just mentioned is present just in case people wanted to follow up as it relates to that, as well as the presentation provided last meeting, and that if you want to continue to submit names, you can submit it in writing via Let's Talk. We'll make sure that the link is available for the form, or you can send an email into the Board of Education, and we'll make sure that it gets to this particular committee. So I just wanted to make sure that people are aware of all of the options.
Are there any questions around the purpose of the new facility? Nope. Well, moving on to our next item is a discussion of potential names. Pierre, do we have any submissions of potential names?
So, Madam Chair, no submissions as it relates from our last meeting until this particular time. We did get questions in regards to the building itself, and I think Ms. Montgomery has already explained the purpose. The reason why we are looking into renaming the building is not to just change the name but it's because there's a new purpose associated with it. But outside of that, we didn't get any feedback or comments regarding the building.
Well, I'll take the inquiries. That's a positive. We'll see the sunshine in that. So are there any names that anyone would like to offer up, or names that we would like to review, or reports of names that we have reviewed?
Hi, yes, this is Lyndon Green. I do have a name I'd like to throw out there. We probably going to have to research it, though. But it's from a prominent member who's a historical resident of the Atlanta University Center neighborhood, and he was also one of the leaders with SNCC. His name was Bob Mann. So I'd like to throw that one out there.
Can you repeat that name, please?
Mance, Bob Mance, Robert Bob Mance.
Could you spell the last name? And when you say the name, do you have an entire name for the facility itself?
Yeah, it's M-A-N-G. I think it's M-A-N-G-S. He was one of the 4 who crossed that Pettus Bridge.
Okay.
And they recently renamed the highway after him. But yeah, he was one of our residents in Atlanta University Center. Matter of fact, he quit Morehouse, I think, during his last semester, as he was doing a lot of the work with the student nonviolence movement.
Thank you. And then, Madam Chair, I do just want to go over the list of names that were submitted, that was discussed at the last committee meeting. We had APS Student and Family Support Center, or Service Center. We had STARS, which was Services That Attribute to Real Success. APS Center for Student Supports, ACSS. We had APS Center for Community Engagement and Student Supports, Access. We had APS Safe, which is for Student and Family Environment. And then we had Community Collaboration Center, or Student Support Service Academy. And so I do just want to mention that we did place those names into assembly as well. And then, of course, the consideration from Mr. Green, Bob Mings. And so just want to put that out from what we've heard so far.
Thank you, and I believe Jessica has an addition.
I
Board
do,
Member
thank you so
Johnson.
much. I guess when I heard Chelsea talking just about all of the resources that are going to be available in that space and how all of the different departments are coming together, I think the words that were bubbled up for me were really just like the connection and hub. And so maybe I would just like to throw out the APS Connect / Student and Family Resource Hub.
Will you repeat that for us?
APS Connect Student and Family Resource Hub.
Excellent. So it sounds like a lot of the ideas are kind of around the what's happening in the building, and then we also have an idea that is representative of a prominent member of the community. So I love the direction that we're going, and I would also like to offer that maybe you throw out some of these ideas and just at the meetings where you're talking about the purpose of the building, and maybe see if we can have, maybe 5 minutes of the time that you have with the community, if you can get possibly some feedback, or if any additional creativity comes to light.
Pierre, if you can send me those, we'll add them to the slide for our next two stakeholder engagements and see if we can get any feedback on them. I have another one to throw in the pot.
Okay, let's get it.
Compass, we were talking about different words like axis, navigate, and we were thinking compass we could really run with supporting students and families to navigate APS in our community or navigate APS in life. And then I feel like we could get very branded with compass and navigate, help me navigate, ... and have different items. Getting to an acronym for compass was a little harder. I'll tell you what we came up with, a few of them. Center for Opportunity, Maximizing Progress and Supporting Students. The Center for Opportunity, Maximizing Progress and Achieving Student Success. So looking at achieving student success versus and supporting students. A community of opportunity to maximize progress and achieving student success, or the first one ending, and then a center of opportunity to maximize progress. So we had a couple beginnings, a couple ends. I can repeat any of those, but we did play around a lot with it and ChatGPT today.
So I certainly love the idea of compass and the marketing legs that it has. It definitely has a lot of direction that it could go there. I also really like access. I believe you mentioned that there might have been a lot of things named access, but does that matter if our acronym is actually the full name and we call it access?
I don't know. I mean, there were some other things, but there's always going to be other things. So I don't know that it matters, because I also really like hub.
Yes.
And we were messing with HUB words, so helping, understanding, building, belonging, bridging, understanding. We were just kind of looking at all those different words. But the way that you crafted that, it doesn't really need an acronym, which is even nicer. So yeah, I don't know that it matters. I think something hub, access, compass, I like all of them.
I guess I was thinking too, like to Board Member Baldwin's point around like the branding piece of it. So we have APS Cares, we have all these other pieces like that. It connects, so when people are navigating on the website, they know that this is the one place where they get this menu of options, and it's kind of on brand with the other buckets of resources that APS offers.
Yeah, because I think that making sure that making sure that it's clear on what the center is, like we talked about the last time. And so I actually do like the compass. I mean, I like access. I'm with board member Ball. I think we all like that one, but I do like the compass because you can brand that, and you can see some shirts and different type of logos that you can have with that, and it comes easier telling the parent, hey, go to Compass, and it stands for the navigating through all the different services. Because if you think about it, you're saying that they're going to relocate all student services. Well, that's huge, and it is going to be some navigation on how to navigate through all this there at that building. So I do like that. I wish we could know a little bit more about access, because I guess my point about that is it okay if we still have the name Access as long as the acronyms are different? Or if something is named Access, is that going to bring confusion to what we're doing here? What do you guys think?
I think that sounds like some research that might need to be done in terms of, because I love the fact when the acronym, when you say it, it means something, and when you use the acronym, it means something. So it's, and access is not forced in any way. Compass is a little forced right now.
It's pretty long, too.
We started with the acronym and then backed into it. I'm also interested in doing some research around the name that community member Green offered up to see, just to get some more information and background on him, and if having that community tie is important to the community, considering what does that look like in this naming process.
Yeah, to John's point, I was really thinking like to get our families to come in that direction versus still coming to CLL, we do need something easy to say, oh, go to Access, go to Compass, go to the Hub. Like we need something catchy. But I think we can craft that in lots of different ways, but I do think we need something easy to get everybody used to going somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think that if you think about the Access, it also kind of, the name itself kind of breeds a little trust, like saying, hey, Access, here we go. We're not hiding anything. This is where everything is, and I think that's what I think about when I hear that name, like everything is here, opposed to where I guess Compass is good, but when you gave us what to see, I already got confused, from that point there. And I think Hub is okay too, because that's like, boom, one word that you can kind of hit. But I think if we can do the Access, I really do like that, because it breeds that level of trust. Like I said, here's what we offer, here's where the services are, here's whether it be tribunal, whether it be student services as far as access and how to do a FAFSA for parents, special education, social services, all of that is going to be there, and here's the access to all of it at this one building. So I think that's really good, because the parents, they want that trust.
One thing I just want to note, especially for the public, special ed will stay here. Everything else will be there. But we're hoping to look at some liaisons and some things, because we do know that is a topic that comes up a lot, but I do want to make sure. But yeah, the entire premise of why we started it was easier access for our families. So to Board Member Walden's point, it makes sense. We didn't force it.
So, Mr. Green, you're hearing the continuation of the conversation that we started last meeting, where we were just brainstorming around the initial thought of how and what to name this building, and thinking that it might be ideal if it was very clear what the building offered in the name, which is why you hear a lot of conversations around acronyms versus people. So I wanted to update you on that, as well as get your input on that conversation, if you have something to offer.
Yes. As I was listening, I was thinking about Atlanta. I was thinking about APS. I was thinking about the connection between someone who goes through APS, someone who's born in Atlanta, the poverty gap. And I think in Atlanta, they say you have about a 5% chance of getting out of poverty every year. I was thinking about that, and then at the same time, I was thinking about the new facility What is it? What is it that you would tout? What is it that you want to make the loudest hoorah about it? And then I was at the same time I was thinking about the democracy that we're in now, being in the United States. What's happening around Congress? What's happening with our democracy? Everything like that, and just how does that connect to community? What's the purpose of this of the APS of the school? What can this facility? How do we plug and play? What impact would this facility have? I mean, is it just another building? Would it just be another institution? What does it mean for the people? How can we really connect that and make that make sense? So there's some kind of when you hear it, and the services and everything that's going to be there. So that's kind of like more of what I was thinking about. You know, how does that even make sense when I hear the names of it, or it's just another generic name? What's about it? Is it going to be any different? You know, or is it just going to be the same old same old?
So with that in mind, hearing about some of the ideas that have put into place, specifically access or compass, do you feel that speaks to what you were speaking about? Do you think that we're headed in that direction with those ideas?
When I think about compass, you know, I think about measuring. You know, what direction compass? What are you measuring? It's a little bit more generic. I don't know. It doesn't really. I can say it doesn't really tickle my fancy because, you know, also I think there's some kind of insurance company or something else that Compass. But it doesn't really do a lot for me personally when I think about this Compass. So again, I think from a community perspective, you know, I will be wanting something that's going to be more in line with, or something that's going to be more uplifting, something that's going to be more connective for our community. You know, yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking about. That's something that would be more connective and more identifiable and relatable when it comes to that. Because if I just heard that word, it doesn't connect with me, with community or anything. I mean, I wouldn't even think that it would just be connected to APS education or, you know, Atlanta or anything like that if I just heard that. But
Okay, what about the Atlanta Center for Community Engagement and Student Support? And that
say that one again.
Atlanta Center for Community Engagement and Student Support. And its acronym is ACCESS.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that one rings more of a bell. I think you got some very, very key words in there that's needed: community engagement and student support. I like that.
Excellent. So we're also going to do some research on the name that you brought forward, and we will have that available for our next meeting. We are still open for additional suggestions. And I believe we also talked about definitely, I would recommend running Access, Compass and Hub, even definitely feeling the input. Right now, Access seems to have everybody's head nod right now. That is sitting in the #1 spot from this committee, but would love to get community input on those and the others that kind of fit Lyndon's kind of description of what the community would appreciate as the name of the building. I see some head nods. I believe we have some consensus.
I think Mr. Green, he hit it off with that word connect, making sure that building connects to the community. And I think when we think about this name here, Atlanta Center for community engagement and student support. It connects the students, it connects parents, it connects the community, so it would be great to get some more research around that one. Not saying it's the only one, but,
We could also play with the word connect in access and see if that fit in there at all.
So if there aren't any additional potential names to be discussed, I will move on to public comment. Pierre, do we have any public comment? What?
No public comment at this moment.
Okay, there's no public comment. I believe I did already go through next steps, which was adding the names for review in the engagement meetings, as well as researching the name that was brought forth, just understanding who this community member is or was and what he contributed to the community, and then accepting any additional names.
And so the only thing is date for the next meeting, just so that we can have a time frame of when we can cut off the feedback so that we can share it back with the committee for consideration.
So were we trying to make a recommendation for the May board meeting? Is that, I see your smile over there. Is there any, what date do you have in mind or is available on the board calendar right now? And then we can see if that works for us.
So a couple of things can happen. I mean, we can come back the week of the 22nd.
That's probably the week it'll happen.
But we do have another naming committee meeting on the 25th, so we'll have to be between the 22nd and the 24th.
None of those dates. Okay.
Unless you want to come back next week.
Well, when are your engagement meetings?
It's next Wednesday and then Saturday.
Okay.
17th and the 20th.
Is
So-
there any way we could do it?
We have the week
Is
of
it
the
too late to do
29th.
it the week of the 29th?
We can do it the week of the 29th.
So I am available up until Thursday. I'm leaving for graduation. Sorry, I'm excited.
No, you should be.
It'll be the first one.
I was actually going to recommend that, but I can only see partial calendar on that day. Hold on one second.
I can make it work. Wait a minute. Yeah, there's a community meeting. Erica
So-
has a community meeting.
And I think
that
it
day.
may be a literacy event that's going to happen that day. We're going back and forth. We'll have that confirmed tomorrow.
What about
So
Monday?
You said Monday?
Wide
Yes,
open for me.
Monday could work.
John, that works for you? Lyndon, if you could, when you get stationary, check your calendar for Monday, April 29th, and send me a quick note about whether or not you can make that for our next meeting. So that would be Monday, April 29th.
And are we saying 5:30? 5:30?
5:30. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay. I'll send out a calendar invite in regards to that.
Excellent. Well, if all that is handled, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
It has been properly moved by Board Member Johnson and seconded by Mr. Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.